Soweto's Vilakazi Street is the only road in the whole wide world on which two Nobel Peace Prize laureates have lived. The Archbishop, Emeritus Desmond Tutu, and Nelson Mandela. Now, Tutu's family lived there since 1975, and scores of people have been visiting it since his passing. Yesterday, my colleague Lindokuhle Xulu has been speaking to some of the neighbours there this morning. He's joining us now via Zoom to tell us what he heard and to reflect a little bit on what happened there this morning. Lindo, good afternoon. Thank you for joining us this afternoon on today. You spoke to some of the residents in that area in terms of their memories of the late Archbishop, and some of them described him, as I understand, a man who was a fitness enthusiast.
That's right, Praten. We spoke to some people there. You'd remember that as from yesterday, after the announcement of the passing of Desmond Tutu to the Archbishop, that there were people that had made their way to the Tutu house there in Vilakazi Street. Of course, it's a stone throw away from the Nelson Mandela house as well, which then makes that street quite important in terms of the Nobel Prize peace holders, both of them, Nelson Mandela as well as Archbishop Desmond Tutu. But we spoke to some people that were still making their way to their home there, just to get a sense really of what it means for them to be there, to be present, to leave the comfort of their homes, and just essentially to pay a personal a tribute to the Archbishop and his contributions. And one of the people who were fortunate to have spoken to is Sakumzi, the Sakumzi restaurant owner, who essentially spoke to us about the fact that growing up, they were neighbors and that they were family friends. In fact, he spoke about something saying that there was a consideration at some point to build a gate in between his house, where it is currently Sakumzi restaurant, and also the house of the Archbishop, because his mother, that is Sakumzi's mother, as well as the wife of Desmond Tutu, so they were friends. So they were trying to make it easy for them to access each other. But one of the things that we were told also by Sakumzi was the fact that Desmond Tutu was a person who not only had humility, who not only taught them values, but also taught them that exercising is quite important. And he recalled one of the moments where the Archbishop would be walking up and down. Essentially, he spoke to us, told us about the fact that he would normally run up and down that street of that is known as Vilakazi. But he said that as he grew older, he would then be walking there, but essentially telling them how important it is to keep fit. And of course, reaching the age of 90, that is some evidence to what Sakumzi was saying earlier on. But let's take a listen to just some of the recollection of some of the memories that Sakumzi was telling us about earlier on.
My memories of this great leader is he made us to look after ourselves, to love ourselves as the black nation. We got to know that you need to look after your health. Every morning at 6 a.m. he used to jog up the road from here in Patkela Street, up the road in Vilakazi Street, running all the way up. He was looking after his health, and later, as he was getting older, he used to take a walk. And we moved here in 1979. When I was young, my mom and Mamalia Tutu, they used to visit each other. And Mamalia was saying we need to open a gate between the wall here so that when my mom is going to visit them or Mamalia is coming to visit us at home, they don't have to run round around. They can just open the gate between the two houses from Sakumzi to their home, the Tutu family.
That's a beautiful memory there by Sakumzi Makubela on Vilakazi Street. You understand you also spoke to the Nelson Mandela Foundation. I mean, as you mentioned earlier, the two Nobel Peace Prize laureates were neighbours, literally, down there in that Vilakazi Street neighbourhood. What are their thoughts and what did they say in paying tribute to the late Arch, the Nelson Mandela Foundation?
Well, from their side, they're saying that they are in mourning as the foundation, not only because the two were friends, but also because they had worked hand in hand in some of the projects that would be advancing humanity, as they had put it earlier on. We spoke to Mr. Harris, who is the leadership development manager there at the Nelson Mandela Foundation, but essentially speaking about the type of leadership that we saw in both these leaders, and saying that the Nelson Mandela Foundation is mourning the passing, but not only that, they are also paying tribute to him, also conveying their condolences, as they have done earlier on with the statement, but essentially speaking about the great leadership that we have seen here. And there's one question, but then that I asked, in fact, Mr. Harris, in terms of do they believe that the caliber of leaders that we've had in the past are still there? And quite comforting. As the foundation, they do believe that more and more young people, even though they did not mention them by names, but they're saying that in the ranks of young people, they are seeing more and more people that are resembling the type of leadership that was then seen in the likes of the Archbishop Desmond Tutu, as well as the former statesman Nelson Mandela. But more than anything, theirs is to say that they are in a mourning period, and they're observing this moment as a time of great loss because of the iconic figure that they've described, Desmond Tutu. But let's take a listen to them as well, just giving us a sense of where the headspace of the foundation is at this stage after the passing of the Archbishop.
We need to take away from this the need to keep working for a just society. We will make mistakes. Some of our strategies will prove not to be effective. The notion of a rainbow nation, which was the Arch's concept, for example, we need to find different images, different symbols, and different strategies. But at the heart of it, we need to keep working for that just society, which Madiba dreamed of and which the Arch dreamed of.
Yeah, just the end of an era there, Kabashe. Now, you know, the Arch is gone, and talking about his friend and then reflecting. And just very briefly before I let you go, the mood on the ground, the sentiment on the ground in that Vilakazi Street this morning, when you were up and about speaking to the residents and some of the neighbours. What is the sentiment you picked up? What is the overwhelming sentiment? I'm asking this against the context of it is sad to lose a loved one, no matter at what age, no matter what. But some of the leaders have been saying since yesterday, we also need to celebrate this very vibrant, energetic leader who was full of humor as well, who made us laugh a lot.
When people on the ground, Prateni, have obviously been speaking about his humanity and his advancing humanity and humanitarian values. But I can tell you that some of the people, when we had a critical conversation with them, was a worry really to say that the type of leaders we have today, are they able to continue in the legacy and in some of the efforts in which the leaders that have passed on. They mentioned the likes of Nelson Mandela, they mentioned the likes of Albert Luthuli and the great many leaders that we've had. But there is a sense of worry from those we've spoken to say that, are we going to be able to advance these values that we've been taught? But more than anything, but then it is a somber moment. It's a bit quieter on the streets of Vilakazi, even though it's a Monday. But you see that even those that are passing by, they are observing that moment. They do stop and take some time to look at the Tutu house. So there is a sense of worry really from those that we've spoken to, saying what is going to be next in terms of the type of leadership we have in the country.
Yeah, and how long, how many more generations is going to take for us to get that caliber of leaders? Nobody knows an answer to that question. Thank you very much, Lindokuhle Xulu. And by the way, not far away from Vilakazi Street there by the Hector Peterson Memorial in Orlando West, which is the same neighborhood as the one that we've been talking about there with Lindokuhle Xulu, is the home of one of the giants of the ANC, the liberation movement, Tatu Walter Sisulu, and also Mama Albertina Sisulu, and they're all gone. And the generation is gone. It's an end of an era, the death, the passing of Archbishop Desmond Tutu.